It's a very special classic game room interview today as I'm speaking with Aram Jabbari, the PR media overlord specialist for Atlus, one of my favorite publishing companies and one of the audience favorites as well, because you guys have some very unique titles that you just simply don't find elsewhere, like the Devil Survivor series, Dark Spire, and some old ones even. I'm thinking about Dodonpachi and Donpachi. I'm always trying to get you to re-release those. But Aram, how are you today?
I am fantastic. It is a Monday, but I'm talking to you, and you just complimented me and my company as much as humanly possible, so I'm having a pretty good Monday morning.
Well, I've enjoyed a lot of time over the past month playing Devil Survivor 2 on my Nintendo DS. And of course, as always, you guys do a terrific job with the release, with the artwork, with the translation. What kind of work goes into a game like that? Because originally it would be a Japanese title, and I'm assuming that Atlus puts a lot of time and effort into translating it, right?
Yeah, so one of the things that makes us incredibly unique, it's one of the things that makes me very proud to work here, is how the company has structured itself with a focus, a very strong emphasis on quality when it comes to localization. We have a in-house team of translators and an in-house team of editors, and they work together and they focus on things that I think a lot of larger companies that are maybe handling a lot of projects at once, they just don't have the ability to focus on. Things like consistent characterization from beginning to end. A lot of times there are instances in localization, and the word localization I think is preferred over translation because so much goes into the cultural aspect of games that throw a lot of Japanese pulp culture jokes out. So the team here basically receives the Japanese script, and the editors and the translators work together to create an English script that has the same heart and soul, that tries to convey all of the same beats and the same tone, but of course is something that makes more sense, or it's more appropriate, or as appropriate as possible for the North American audience. There's a process of back and forth with the developers back home. And when I say back home, sorry, that was a computer turning off. The developers back home, I mean back at HQ in Japan. And it's funny because I shut that computer down like 20 minutes ago and it just turned off now.
I know it well.
And so that process takes a little bit of time, but really it's all about getting that script right. Now, if there's, Devil Survivor 2 is a DS game, not a ton of, it's not a voiced project like you have a Persona 4 or whatever, right? So there are steps that were maybe not the same, but it was a very involved localization, and there were significant challenges to overcome, as there always are with any project.
Well, you guys always do a great job with your translating, and I'm not sure what changes between the Japanese dialogue and the English, or some of the regional jokes, but I always find that the writing is, even in a dark game like a Persona game, a Shin Megami Tensei, Strange Journey, it's still catchy and fun, and you guys get some good humor, at least in the English translation, out of it. And
thank you.
They're fun to play.
I think any of the editors or translators here would give the credit to the folks who write the scripts in Japan. I think we make it a point to never add something that isn't there. There's no place for modern pop culture references. But I think that recreating that humor, because humor can be so easily lost in translation. And just making sure that if it's supposed to be entertaining and funny, it is in the English version. That is a huge effort on all the great guys and girls out there.
Well, I like fusing the demons in any number of the Shin Megami Tensei games, and just seeing the wisecracking comments that they'll come up with. And it's like it's consistent too between the games, because there's always a lot of familiar demons.
Well, one of the interesting things is there's so much mythology and so much religious reference, theology in the SMT series, and a lot of research goes into the naming, or it did in the past at least, and that research continues to appear in the games. But the names of spells, the names of a lot of that stuff, if there's a slight spelling difference here or there, I think for Persona 3 we changed the spelling for Aigis. And a lot of it was because our research indicated to us that I believe it's AIGIS, or I think that's ultimately what we went with, was actually the correct spelling. So there's guys out there who are meticulous. I would readily invite them to come clean my apartment, because I know that no stone will be left unturned. That's how much effort they put into their craft.
Well, let me ask you what you guys have coming up for fans in 2012, because the last few years of releases has been incredible from Atlus. So what's coming up this year?
We're very excited about the slate that we have. We actually most immediately is a title that's we're helping NIS America distribute. And to explain that role, basically they do everything. They're the publisher, and we just help them get the product, physical product, out to market. But that is Disgaea 3 for the Vita. So it's a series that continues to live on because of its personality, and the guys at NIS do a fantastic job with the localization. Prinny has become one of those characters that has taken a symbol almost of I think really the strategy RPG, but anime in general. And so we're really excited. I think that's April 15th, if I'm not mistaken. That title will be coming to market, and that is for anyone who's a hardcore gamer, anyone who likes strategy RPGs. Obviously, you can't go wrong with Disgaea. We're very excited for May 15th. We are going up against some very large gorillas, but and I have to say something for anyone who's going to fault us for the schedule. We announced our date on February 2nd, and then some small company called Activision Blizzard mentioned May 15th as a possible release date for some game. I hadn't heard of it. I really hadn't heard of. I think it's Diablo 3. I don't know. It could just be claw marks. But no idea. I mean, I'm gonna buy Diablo.
Oh, I've loved I played the first one for quite some time back in the day.
There's nothing quite as terrorizing or terrifying as when the butcher comes out and wants some fresh meat. So we're May 15th, Game of Thrones. We believe that there's a tremendous crossover among gamers who like the Game of Thrones books and the series. One of the reasons that we were so excited to be involved with the project was, in addition to the fact that it was created in conjunction with George R.R. Martin himself, in addition to the fact that HBO has given support in the form of the official soundtrack. You'll hear music from the show. The likenesses of actors from the series will appear, their voices. In addition to all that, we really believed in the kind of game that Cyanide was making, the developer Cyanide, located in France. And we released a video a few weeks ago about the combat engine, and it was one of the most positively received videos to date because it showed people that, for anyone who liked Dragon Age 1, but really wasn't sure if they were as keen on that kind of game going in a more fast-paced, just action-click direction, you're going to love Game of Thrones. It is a game with the tone and maturity, the feel of The Witcher, but it's a game that really plays a lot like the first Dragon Age. It is a tactical, a strategic, Western-style role-playing game. You have character customization options. You're not going to be changing appearance. You have your two set characters that you'll take control of, and like the books, you actually change perspective chapter by chapter. But you have the ability to actually choose different combat stances for them. There are different skill trees. You can level them up based on what paths you choose for the characters, and there's profound decisions that you can make that will change how the story plays out and ultimately have significant repercussions in Westeros.
What game consoles is Game of Thrones coming out for?
Game of Thrones is scheduled to come out May 15th on PS3, 360, and PC.
Okay.
And Season 2 just debuted last night. I don't know if anyone's watching this. I'm referring to April 1st. April 1st. So, so we're excited that things are really ramping up right now. And the game is going to come out right when the season is in full swing.
Good.